Hi guys, welcome to your Meek Message. Right before I pressed record, this came up. Okay, it's this idea of minding the company you keep. Okay, the reason why you hear this growing up, the reason why you hear this idea of, not all people are your friends. You gotta be mindful of what company you keep, is because there is such a thing as people having battle of wills. Okay, there's some people in your life that may project really negative things onto you for no particular reason. They just, you know, that's their resonance. Okay. Um, and so they use their breath, they use their own God given natural elements to wish ill will on you. Okay. Whether it be you are suffering to cause some kind of life of suffering. These just is something that exists. Okay. So they may come like they're trying to be your friend, but instead they're actually projecting poverty onto you. They're projecting ill will onto you. Okay. Now, of course, you have your own elements that you can actually battle these people with. Okay. But you need to be mindful as to not being thinking or being deceived by their energy by thinking that they're actually someone who is on your side. Okay, this is why you must be mindful of the company you keep. Okay, you cannot break bread with everyone, because not everyone have clean hearts about you. Okay, it's unfortunate in the world, right? Because we don't have to choose to live that way, but it's a rite of passage in order for you, as you're ascending, as you're walking through life, you will meet these energies. Okay, it is part of your own ascension. So don't look at it as something that you are, should be fearful. It's not about fear, right? Because you're going to be given an opportunity to prove them wrong. You're going to be given an opportunity to have victory and success. Okay. So with that being said, just be mindful of it. Okay. And as you're going through, it does not feel good. Okay. I know. Because you might think that someone's your friend. You may have such a big heart. You might be an empath and not think about this stuff, but it's going to make you wiser. Okay. It's going to bring forth a great deal of wisdom. Okay. And that is needed for soul ascension. Okay, so just try not to get too caught up on the wrong train. Okay, being around the wrong people, the wrong influences. Okay, um, empathetic people oftentimes get caught up with this because you feel for others. You feel for others. You want to connect with other people. Um, and that's a beautiful thing, and actually part of your ascension is not losing that. It's not losing your heart. Okay, don't become the very thing that is wishing you ill. Okay, don't become like the people who are trying to oppress that frequency or take advantage of that frequency. Okay, right before I'm posting this one, there's going to be a message in do not take my kindness for weakness. Right, I just did a read for that and for a particular person. Okay, it's a collective read, so it's going to hit a couple different people, but in particularly, if you're hearing this right now, go check that reading out after this one. Okay, so yes, battle of the will. So if you're in front of someone, and anyone can take this advice, if you're in front of someone and let's say you're projecting a certain reality, right? You see them and they're your friend or your lover or whoever, your sister. It could be in your own family members, right? And you're projecting good things onto them, right? You're trying to see the good in them and then amplifying the good within your mind's eye. Okay. Now, just because you're doing that for them, it does not mean that they're doing that for you. Okay, they can be projecting a darkness onto you, or I want to say darkness, that's not the right word to use, but they can be projecting ill qualities onto you. Maybe some things that may not even be really in your resonance, but they will construct and project a reality like that on you, right? And they gain momentum when they go behind your back and maybe gossip, say things that are untrue, right? They're really trying to create a false reality for you and see if you can get trapped in it. Okay? So be mindful of that. But here's your greatest defense is that if you are truly walking in light and just being who you are, those who have eyes can see, it will break free of those illusions. Okay? This is why it's very important to know oneself. Know oneself in any crowd. okay, in any environment. This way you don't get caught up. Don't be too whisked away with just wanting to have friends or having community or sense of belonging. And that within itself is a beautiful thing. Okay, so when it does actually find you and it's actually authentic, okay, it doesn't come with these backhanded nonsense or things that deception, lies, illusion. That is where the true light of God really is. Okay, so it's not about losing the desire to connect with others or have love with others. It's more so in the rites of passage of realizing when that is not coming from whoever you're around. Okay, fake love people. Okay, you want that to be repelled from you. So if you every day you have to wake up and say, God, I break any illusions casted upon my senses. I repel any negative energy, those who are fake, who are also trapped in their own illusion, because that's the only reason why they're projecting that onto you. Okay, those who lack the love of God in their hearts, repel them from me. Okay, make it so that when I'm in their presence they get sick. Make it so that they actually don't want to be in my presence. Okay. And this is where you have to also be okay with being isolated, because we say certain things with our power. We put some certain power in our breath. And then we wonder why it is we're not invited to go do this thing with these people, because you don't belong at that table. Okay. You don't. You don't. And you should be grateful and happy. I'm telling you, you're saving yourself from a lot of nonsense energies trying to attach themselves to your aura field. Okay. A lot of fake people will, or people who operate in deception and lies, they would like your energy, but they're not going to like you, because you bring forth the truth within themselves, the things that they're not neglecting to see for themselves. Okay. But they can still feel the resonance, right? They want to be just as close to it as possible without actually like giving you your props or giving you your credit for the work that you've already done in the shadow. Okay. So these are people who, like I said, you don't want them to be too close. All right. These frenemies. I never really understood it. I think this also comes from the concept of, like, some people you just can't drink with. Right. And it's because their shadows are don't mix well with yours. Okay. Now don't get it twisted. Like, I'm smiley. I'm very kind. I'm very sweet. Right. And there's many people like this in the world. Very kind, very sweet. But then when we start really getting to the shadow part, will we be transforming into, people will be scared. And there's nothing really worse than being around people that you love and they're actually fearful of you. Okay. And there must be a reason. Why is it that they're scared? Why do you think that they're scared? It's because they don't really have good thoughts for you. Okay. They don't have that in their heart. There's something. Okay. This is why we as a collective cannot just be with everybody, or, letting our hair down with everyone. Okay. Because whatever it is that they're actually projecting in the darkness, whatever fears that they have, any thought forms that they have, any competing energies that they're having, where they're comparing their life to your life, it comes up. Okay. So I also want to say drinking is not necessarily the problem. It's like drinking with the wrong people, drinking with the wrong resonance. Some people drink and they are lively. You guys have a good time. It's not a problem, right? It's not a question of loyalty. It's not a question of any of those things. Okay. There's a natural vibe. It doesn't matter what frequency you guys are tapping in at, whether it be high, low, in between. It don't really matter, because these are your people. This is your tribe. You guys genuinely have love and respect for one another. Okay. But when you do certain things with other people, then jealousy starts coming out and all that. You got to be mindful, especially if it's not your blood. It doesn't make any sense continuing those type of relationships. It makes zero sense. Okay. I'm going to kill you. There's a mosquito in here. All right. All right. Now let's get into the reading. That was just the opening arcing, right? That's just a little bit of wisdom for you guys listening out to this. Remember, empaths do not allow that frequency to stop you from being loving. Do not allow that frequency to stop you from putting your best foot forward, no matter who is coming around you. All right. Now, a lot of you guys are in relationships with people who couldn't believe that, oh man, is this person real? Are you so loving and so kind? Yes. And then they fumble the bag or whatever the case may be. And, you can't really give these type of people second chances. You have to just keep on moving. Okay? Show up in every relationship with an open heart, divine wisdom and divine understanding. Okay? And this way you can have a discernment like, maybe that's not person. This is why you also wait between relationships. Don't jump right into anything, and don't be lustful. Patience. Allow the resonance to be true. Okay? Especially if divine feminine, before you let them into your temple. Okay? Allow patience to let everyone show you who they are and what reality they're actually projecting. Okay? This is part of that work. It's part of that shadow work. All right, so I do have wisdom out here, which is the Hierophant in the major arcana. It's the overarching. I want to try something different with this readings. I want to see if I can just open up. They're saying, yeah, do that. Okay, so I'm going to do. Instead of starting off with these cards, which I think I need to take a rest anyway, because this was the one that I used before. I'm going to I have this book, my old journal. This is an old one. Okay. I'm going to open it up to some random page. That's what I was being called to do. Okay. And then but I'm going to use the message. Thank you, God, creator of all things known and unknown. Please guide my vessel, live this message on the highest possible frequency for divine alignment for all those involved. Divine wisdom, power, and glory, honor all those who come before me. Yes. Okay. All right. So first message is a village. It takes a village to raise a child, developing their consciousness, and we never stop learning and growing. We learn and grow at our own pace. Okay, mind you, this was the underlying before I pressed record. Okay, monkey see, monkey do. No, monkey do what makes sense. Shout out to one of my elders who said this. God has given us all the talents and senses to a certain extent, so we all are students and readers at a certain extent. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Everybody knows I got no fear. Okay? Overcoming the memory of love you shared in the past. Okay? Love is the silence amongst the disruption of peace. Love is calm and not force. All right, very important here. It says there is only one God. You cannot manipulate your way into heaven. You must operate in divine order. Your ego has no place here. God knows no fear. Okay. Also from my grandma, one of my one of my grandmothers, rest in peace. It says, "Open rebuke is better than secret love." Wisdom. Okay, open rebuke is better than secret love. All right. So if you're coming from this frequency, thank you. If you're coming from this frequency in which you, that's from Gigi Margaret. Thank you. If you're coming from this frequency, like I said, where people are openly detesting you, you be very, very grateful for it. Okay, it saves you a lot of time and unnecessary drama. Because some people, like I said, they don't like you or they don't want to be around you, but they will pretend. And that is where the drama and the deception, because they're really just deceiving themselves. And the same thing goes for you. If you sometimes, in your blood just don't take someone. You ever hear this saying? It's a Caribbean saying, my blood don't take she. And it's best to know that in the beginning. All right? Because we don't have to have unpleasantness here. All right? There's some people your blood just take. You ever meet somebody and they're just like, boom, this person's in my resonance. This person and I have a certain frequency. Okay? Open rebuke is better than secret love. So if some of you guys are in love relationships where you can't tell anybody, that's terrible. Okay. Love is expressed, and it's expressed proudly. Okay. It's very secure. It's very secure. Okay. Lust, secret, fragmented, deception, leads to envious spirits. Okay. But actual love is very secure. Okay. This is why, even if you know you shared love with someone, when they don't wish you ill will when you're done with the union, they still support the things that you want. It doesn't have to be this weird drama. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you guys had a romance, it didn't work out. You know, you can, it's not ill will. You know what I mean? Mature, love, love. All right. What else do you got from this wisdom? I attract love. Golly, that was a lot for now. Okay. Stand your ground against discontent and boredom. Okay. Actually, this is a thing that is going to be the issue for a lot of you guys. Is this idea when you get bored, that's when you become lustful. That's when you become getting distracted by people who are not really in love with you. It's easy to deceive you. Okay. When you're just kind of looking for something to get into. All right. This reading and the one that right before here, which again, it's not surprising that they're linking together. Is the idea of to start practice your skills. There's really no reason for us to be bored. Okay, like once you're rested and you can find some uh, you can find some recipes that you can try, and like even that's kind of exciting to see how something can work out or how you can make a new recipe to eat. I love that. That's what I'm on right now, especially with smoothies and just food, like and baked goods. You can do that. You can perfect your skills, learn a language. I'm doing that too right now. You can study something. You can read. You can paint. You can play a game. Um, there's so much things you can do. You know what I mean? Try not to just stick on scrolling on your phone, because that is where part of the distractions come. And this is where people, again, a lot of lustful people who are like we call whatless people, who don't know what to do with themselves. They are just out there just looking to be, I guess, entertained. Okay. And then you over here in your boredom and distraction start entertaining these deceptive energies. They don't really like you, but they just bored. They don't know what to do with themselves. Right? You ever get in a conversation with someone who does not know how to who don't know how to have a conversation? It is like, it's like, it reminds me of those days when I used to be on those dating apps. Right? And it's just a bunch of whatless people who just looking to be distracted, maybe have sex. Right? They're not really looking for genuine connections or love. Right. And a lot of those people on those apps too don't have the confidence to actually speak to people in person. So the apps gave a leeway for that. And that's a whole nother frequency that you don't really want when it comes to, like, you want high vibrational people who know themselves, people who are confident, people who can carry conversation, people who are not, when they get bored and stuff, they actually better themselves. Okay. So let's get back to the message. Stand your ground. Don't give way to boredom or discontentment. Don't give way to fear, right? I know some of you guys think that if you aren't surrounded by people, or you have a fear of missing out, right? You have a fear that if you, sorry, let me fix this. If you just kind of focus on yourself, that you're no longer in the loop, or I'm trying to tell you, you don't really want to be in certain groups. I'm telling you, lame on lame. Okay. They could have a lot of money. They could have a lot of wealth. And then just being around them makes you want to scream, because their vibration is just so blah. Okay. There's some people who have energy. All right. And we kind of feed off of each other's energy because we're just high vibes. It don't matter if we're drinking. It don't matter if we're doing any kind of low vibrational stuff, because we ourselves are the things that get ignited when we do those things. Okay. And just being around other people who have like vampiric energy, it just like, it don't work. All right. So we hold out for the people who are actually in high resonance. Like, yeah, these are my people right here. All right. So from the angel of abundance, we got a bountiful nature. Okay. Spending time in nature helps shift you to a higher vibration and reminds you of God's infinite abundance. Go outside and enjoy a walk or a hike with your pet. Meditate beneath a tree, garden, sit under the stars, or do some other activity to connect with the limitless vastness. Okay, they're also showing me the sun. Maybe you could catch some sunlight in the morning. Sun is always very good sun. It's very good sun. Okay, it's very good sun, and they're showing me to stand the ground. I'm going to read it from the book. Yes, I hear you. This is the Seven of Wands. Ooh, stand your ground. This card comes at a time when you're being tested and challenged. There may be fierce competition and potential rivals surrounding you in your personal or business life. But know that you have the strength and inner courage to stand your ground no matter how hard or formidable things may appear. Don't surrender or give up the control you have. Be brave and stay true to your core life values and belief system, which are your best allies and help you move forward. It's important to remain clear and focused, for you may have to stand alone and defend your convictions to the end. Maintain your health and stay strong so that you have an ample supply of energy to endure anything, as this could be a long and arduous yet ultimately hard-won victory. Okay, guys? Don't stick to the frequency of this nonsense. Okay? All right? And I know. Some people are really divinely protected, so we don't really got to fight certain of these battles, right? And depending on who you are, okay? Because, like I said in my other readings, in this particular lifetime, I had to overcome the entity of wrath and then taking matters on my own hands. Okay? So there's been times where God had to show me, when you sit back and look pretty, don't worry, I got you. Okay, and that is such a that lesson right there is the most beautiful lesson I think I've ever actually learned in this particular lifetime for my own particular soul journey. All right, so I'm not saying, don't defend yourself or nothing like that, right? If somebody touch you, you touch them back. All right, that's from the elders. Okay, if anybody put your hands on you, that's the case. But we're talking about spiritual war right now. All right, and spiritual war have everything to do with how your mind is and how your heart is. Okay, the thoughts that you think, right, is amplified by your heart space. So make sure that no matter where you're going, before you go there, you have a heavy meditation about who you are. Okay, this way, when others are trying to project nonsense onto you, you're shielded automatically. All right, so always stand your ground. Stand your ground. All right, I'm telling you, these are just words of wisdom. Okay, there's those who think that they can manipulate their self into heaven. The fake it till you make it people. Nah, it's about resonance. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. Okay, there's some spirits that roll with you. They only roll with you because they know you're doing the work. All right, this is just not fraudulent. All right, it's not. Okay, a lot of people pay attention to the aesthetic of something and then they're lacking substance. You ever been to a restaurant where they're doing all this stuff, all this frills and gills or whatever in the restaurant, but then the food tastes like bullcrap? That's a resonance for people too. Shell. And then the inner work is just not there. All right. So as for you, divine soul, get into nature. Remember, as natural as you can be, right? That is the oneness with God. Okay. Meditate, breathe, because you may be surrounded by a bunch of snakes in the grass. Actually, I don't even like saying that because snakes get a bad rap. All right. I love my divine serpents. All right. But what I'm trying to say is people who don't mean you well. Okay. Trying to be around the light because they know they need the energy. They're trying to figure out how you're getting this energy because they don't want to do the authentic walk themselves. All right. But they don't really necessarily want you or like you. All right. Stand your ground against these people. Don't get bored. In your boredom, just go try to think about what it is can make you better as a person on any aspect. Okay. Whether it be physical, spiritual, mental. All right. Sometimes it's resting. I'm also going to say that as well. Sometimes you guys just need to rest. Okay. Allow your spirit to speak in the silence.